Hello, everybody. Welcome to Sefer Hamitzvot day 82. First of all, congratulations. We are deep in, and I'm very proud of us. Okay, so today we do two mitzvahs. First of all, we repeat the mitzvah 356, which is the mitzvah that if a woman gets married after she divorces her first husband and then divorces her second husband, she cannot return and remarry her first husband. We discussed this for the past 2 days already. Today we're introducing a new mitzvah. Mitzvah 216, which is the mitzvah of Yibum. Yibama Yava Yaleha. In short, a man is married to a woman. He passes away, unfortunately, and they had no children. In short, he has no legacy. There is nothing that will continue from him. Out of kindness to him and his legacy, the mitzvah is that his brother is obligated to marry his wife, sister-in-law, in order to continue this man's legacy. In short, we'll cover it tomorrow, but there is a way out. It's called chalitza, but let's talk about yibum today. So the bare bones is they're already connected, essentially. Like there doesn't have to be a formal chuppah, a formal ceremony. They're not really like getting married anew, right? The idea of a chuppah is you're taking two strangers with nothing to do with each other and you're sewing them together. Here, there's an intrinsic connection. This is the brother of the deceased man. And so they're basically already connected, and that's why he's obligated to marry her. So the bare bones of it is they just have to be together. They have to live together. They have to be intimate in the hopes that a new legacy will be created. The Chachamim, the Rabbanim, did add a component of ceremony so that it's just a little bit more bakavadik, a little bit more, I guess, a respectful process. That being said, it's not a ceremony like a chuppah. It's some kind of formal bringing them together as the yibum, as the continuation of the original husband's legacy, but it's not a formal chuppah. What they call it is a mimer, I believe. Essentially a statement. It could be some kind of document. This doesn't make them married. It's still when they are intimate, that's when they have officially come together and they're married and he has done his deed and he's done the mitzvah of Yibum. But this is the kind of formal ceremony that allows them to go and continue and do the main thing. Another interesting nuance is that back in the day, an engagement was a big deal. Nowadays, when we get engaged, it's a commitment and it's serious and you should take it seriously, but there's no real legal weight. And what we do is we include the engagement component under the chuppah. We combine the two because it's important. But back in the day, you could be betrothed and promised to somebody, and it was very, very serious. There had to be some kind of get process to separate the two. This is a whole analysis of historically why this was the case and why it was changed. But back in the day, an engagement meant an engagement. Therefore, if, let's say, Reuven was married to Sarah, even if Reuven was engaged to Sarah in this sense, and they didn't have children, so it wasn't even possible for her to become pregnant from him because they didn't yet fully get married. They haven't lived together. Even so, the mitzvah of Yibum applies because bottom line is this man's legacy is cut off. There will be no future from him. If the family doesn't step in and help the situation. So really, if you think about it, it's a huge kindness that we do for one another. Like I said, no one's trapped. There's options out. We'll talk about that tomorrow. But it's a very thoughtful thing. In short, it's crazy. You don't hear about it much today. But this idea of really like caring about each other and trying to help each other out, even posthumously, is very, very powerful and also shows so much in how we look at the soul. And we'll end off with one of my favorite stories. Rabbi Aryeh Levine, they called him the Tzaddik of Yerushalayim. He lived in the 1900s. He has amazing, wonderful stories about him. The famous story is that he came to the doctor with his wife and he said, "My wife's leg is hurting us." And this really is a perfect reflection on the idea of what marriage is. We're one. We become an extension of one another. Like literally, you're a part of my body. So this ties into this whole idea of why, therefore, if the wife, the widow, that's left behind marries her husband's brother, it's it's an extension of that reality of them being one. And this really comes from a place of chesed. So it's a very, very interesting mitzvah. Nevertheless, we, bottom line is we learn about it, mitzvah 216, Yibam, and that's that for today. Have an amazing day. We'll see you tomorrow.